Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. Today, I'm very excited because we have a special guest on this show. He works alongside some of the world's most respected energy healers and spiritual leaders, he's just a walking proof that even the most daunting diagnoses can be met with clarity, intention, and power. I am so excited and so honored to have you on the show, Nate. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Well, Stacey, thank you. Thank you for having me once again. Nate Zeleznick here. My integrated ascension method, or the IM for short, is truly a unicorn of a modality that helps people, whether they are dealing with a terminal diagnosis, whether they're dealing with memory loss, or whether they are a biohacker or an athlete or a soccer mom who simply is looking for that next most latest, greatest thing, but wants to live a longer, healthier, more vital life, do so and make massive gains quickly. And so I've been on this spiritual path for a long time, from almost taking my life when I was 12 as a highly suicidal preteen, being bullied every single day and having a lot of abuse from my mother at home, to having out of body experiences spontaneously and realizing that I'm more than just a physical body, all the way to having a synchrodestiny to help blind people. And I'll tell you a little bit about that story in just a second. But it helped me pioneer an amazing martial energy building, energy healing, and extrasensory, and I say reliable, reproducible extrasensory perception art that had held secret within a royal family for over 500 years. And I became the very first non-Indonesian person to learn this. And together with one of my siblings, we pioneered this in the Western Hemisphere, both North and South America, not only to help blind people see, but to help mind people see and help them become their very best self. And so that's a brief overview. And now with this brain tumor, which I call my blessing. It's my blessing and my lesson. It's actually the best thing that's ever happened to me is the diagnosis of a tumor that is inoperable. Well, they could operate, but it will either kill me or it will permanently disable me. So this has led me on the opportunity for the healer to heal thyself. And I've been
Yes.
helping people recover from the untreatable for many, many years successfully in many cases. And now it's my turn, Stacey, so that I can step into this role and really lead from the front, which is something that I've always done. And
Yeah.
so I've got a six-part series, as I'll mention a little bit later, that helps people in the areas of supplementation, mindset, biohacking, nutrition, energy and breath work, and futuristic treatments that are not yet publicly available. So you've never heard of them, but they are truly like Star Trek, like Dr. McCoy, and you're healed. It's incredible what's coming along in the pipe for humanity. And I am doing everything they can to spread the word of how these things can be used together in conjunction to help people create ultimate health, not just recover, but create ultimate health.
Oh my goodness. I love that. That's amazing. Now, your journey started in martial arts, but it evolved into something much deeper. What was the moment or experience that cracked open when the whole new world of energy, intuition, and vibrovision for you began?
Yeah. So the way that that actually started was, as I mentioned, when I was younger, I was suicidal. I didn't feel there was a way out for me to do anything in life that did not involve pain, ridicule, unworthiness, all the things, the human dramas that we create for ourselves to help us grow. And sometimes, like the gym, you work out and you're really sore. Well, I created a lot of soreness for myself when I was young. And that's okay because that forged me in the fire of that to then be able to help so many people along the way. So it started at 12 when I spontaneously started having out of body experiences where I would go to sleep, but I wasn't asleep. I would leave and see my body, go travel,
Mm.
have fun, come back. If anybody out there has ever had a lucid dream or an out of body experience, which is very common, a lot of people
Yeah.
don't remember them. But then you start to question what is real? Am I just this body? Am I just biochemical and electrical signals? Is that all there is to this life? Is this a big complete accident, that we're here with, 50 trillion cells, all doing 6 trillion functions a second, consciousness, which we don't even know is in the body. This is all just some random accident? I don't think so. Now, do I claim to know what it is? No. However, that really changed everything for me once I started to realize that I am more than just a physical meat suit walking around, and that this is a vehicle of consciousness, so that we get to come here and have experience. Because when you're incorporeal, you can't enjoy how good it is when you see a sunset, or when you sneeze and you get the chills through your body. We all know what these feel like, or holding a baby, or making love. These things are things we can only do with the body. So we come here to have all these experiences. And when that really shifted for me was in 1998, where I'd always been interested in martial arts. I wanted to be a ninja and a Jedi. I'm sure a lot of people can relate out there, especially the Jedi thing, because, the Star Wars is so popular. But I always wanted to have these superpowers, and I knew deep inside there was something in me that I would not be able to learn from school. I would not be able to learn from my parents. I would not be able to learn just with the five senses we've been born with. And
Yeah.
so I ordered a course out of Black Belt magazine that guaranteed me inner power in 2 weeks, or I got my money back. And of course, I want instant chi like everybody else does. And it came with a little manual that was useless, but it did come with a VHS tape that was very useful. And it was an Indonesian documentary on martial arts, and it showed probably about 15 different types of martial arts from Indonesia. And even if, after my years of martial arts training in Chinese, Korean, and Japanese systems, I had never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
And there was one specific group. They were wearing a very unique uniform with a white top, red neckline, red belt, black pants, and they were not breaking little boards. They were breaking stacks of steel, stacks of
Wow.
stone, bricks that are like 30 feet tall on scaffolds. It was nuts. And I thought that was really cool. However, it showed blindfolded people that could see, literally special forces members that could shoot targets. They could drive cars through traffic in Jakarta. They could fight bare knuckles, full contact, hard. And they knew exactly where all the kicks and punches were coming from. But then it showed blind people on a news broadcast. And Stacy, these people could read printed material from a distance. And their eyes were as white as a sheet, and they were blindfolded, and they were being watched by news cameras. And I thought that was just incredible, because holy mackerel, maybe Jedis actually exist.
Yeah.
And then the next day, my higher self served up what I call a synchrodestiny, where I watched a blind woman trying to cross the street with her dog almost get killed. The dog made a mistake, and it led her into a light pole face first.
Wow.
And if anybody out there has ever had an epiphany, that's why I call it a synchrodestiny, not a synchronicity, because
Mhm.
once that happens, your life is never the same. And when I saw this woman, if you can just imagine with me what it would be like, first of all, if you close your eyes and just imagine you could never open them again. And
Mhm.
then to have this animal that you're trusting with your life lead you into a metal pole. I knew right then in my car at 23 years old, I have to find those Indonesian people and see if they can help her. Now, I'd
Yeah.
never met a blind person before, but this was a soul calling. And I think a lot of people out there have had a soul calling that a lot of us just ignore. But I could not ignore this. This was you will do this, Nate. And so I was able to somehow, of course, somehow, as if there are any coincidences in the universe, track down those Indonesian people. And I brought the very first team of this art called Merpati Putih. Now, Merpati Putih sounds funny in English, but in Indonesian it means white dove. So here's this martial art that is just absolute, the most straight out of Hollywood, hard training you can even imagine art that is all centered around peace and justice for all of humanity, knowing ourselves, walking in the light in every single way possible. And when I saw what they could do, I was moved to tears when I saw blind people that they brought with them, that they could drive my car around my neighborhood. They could tell me what was on the TV screen. They read my shirt. They came and cooked me dinner, and they knew where every pot and pan was. And this was incredible. And they'd been training for years, as you do have to get any kind of mastery of any skill.
Yeah.
But they had never allowed a non-Indonesian to learn this in 500 years. It was kept within a royal family until 1963. And then during this period called the Indonesian Genocide, where the Indonesian government killed over 500,000 people in the streets in a 6-month period,
Oh, wow.
the 10th generation royal heir to this Merpati Putih knowledge and two of his sons released the knowledge to Indonesian people, not only to help them defend themselves, but also to help them understand and realize and fully, truly know inside that if I hurt you, I hurt myself. We are
Yes.
one. We're all different parts of the Creator having different experiences through the lens of consciousness. And how can we help people understand that we're all in this together, even though we might feel like we're alone? And
Yes.
so in 1963, they let Indonesians learn, but it wasn't until 36 years later that they found this guy in Utah willing to sacrifice everything in his whole life. I mean, I sold everything except for my kidneys and my gold fillings to get these people here. And when I did, the 11th generation heirs who were still alive at the time, they allowed me to become the very first person outside Indonesia to ever learn this, even though over 1 million people, they said, had learned it in Indonesia. It was the third largest single martial art in the world that nobody had ever heard of outside of this country,
Wow.
Indonesia, I mean. And they allowed me to start training. And there just so happened to be a trainer an hour south of me. Three people in the United States that could train me, one was an hour away. And I started training. And a few weeks later, one of my younger brothers joined me. And we were put on the most advanced, accelerated, and I'll just say it, brutal training regimen that they had ever allowed in the system to go through the ranks in half the time anybody else had ever been allowed to. They really tried to break us and see if we really wanted this. And as you can see, I'm still here. And so that's how this all started. And then a year after we started training, we brought the 11th generation heirs to Utah and they personally tested us, they initiated us, and they inaugurated our school as the very first outside branch of the more than 4,000 branches that there were in Indonesia. There was only one allowed to be outside, and that was ours. And
Wow.
2001, January 3rd, 2001, that's our opening date. We started the first Merpati Bhuti school. And we were not able to do the blindfolded training until a couple of years later when we went to Indonesia to really learn it. And then
Yeah.
we started doing that as well. And I've just been blessed to teach over 10 million people so far online and thousands of people in person, ages 5 to 85, in health, in martial arts, in meditation, in a very unique form of breath work that no other system does. Like there is
Yes.
no other system like this. And then the blindfolded thing, but that is also so limited in what this system actually does to awaken our intrinsic superhuman abilities. Not everybody can see without their eyes. Very, very, very few people can. But everybody has the opportunity to increase their intuition. Some people are remote viewers. Some people out of body experience projectors. Other people are able to radiate energy into large groups of people and attune them into peace. There's so many different things that we can do and be that to say the blind, just to see without your eyes, that's
Yeah.
a that's a neat thing. But now I really focus on health and helping people recover from cancer, Alzheimer's, and really improve themselves in every way they can.
Wow, that's amazing. That is so amazing. Now, for those hearing about your pure energy for the first time, can you explain what exactly it is and how it's different from the traditional mindset or personal development tools?
Without a doubt. So the integrated ascension method, the IM, the website is iampure.energy. So I think that's where you're getting the pure energy. So
Yeah.
iampure.energy shows people what this is. And it takes the Merpati Putti as the base, but I took away out the martial arts. The reason why is there are plenty of martial arts, but I have moved into a completely peaceful path, Stacy. So I don't teach people how to hurt anybody else. Instead, I
Yes.
teach them how to heal themselves. And so taking this breath work, this intermittent hypoxia, meaning not hyperventilation, but breath holding and pulmonary system pressurization. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Take this system of increasing our energy and balancing our organs, and I combine it with things like nutrition,
Mhm.
with supplementation, with neuroacoustics, binaural beats, EEG brain training, biohacking. So many things go into this that I couldn't just teach Marpati Bhuti anymore because they didn't have this stuff in the 16th century, but we
Yeah.
do now. And I've always been a nerd. I came out and I swear I had glasses and a pocket protector on. I'm like, I want to know everything. And the thing is that when you combine these things together, you get to go farther, much faster than any other system possibly can. But we have Merpati Putti at its base. And just like if you have a stereo, what happens when you connect it to an amplifier?
Yeah.
You broadcast a bigger sound. But then if you also put an amplifier on your antenna, which we're always receiving signals, you get to take in more information. And so Merpati Putti is the catalyst as an amplifier for everything that somebody might do. It is the ultimate cross trainer, and it's a force multiplier for any other thing that people do. If whether it's school work, whether it's diet, whether it's working out in the gym, CrossFit, whether
Yeah.
it's chess, it's going to help.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, you train people to access different levels of awareness that seems
Yes.
almost superhuman. What does someone actually, how do they actually tap into that? Like, especially if they're feeling disconnected or burnt out?
Yeah, that's so important. And, we mentioned this a little bit in our conversation before this, that on the CDC website, it says that over 90% of all diseases are caused by stress.
Yes.
It's actually, I've talked to numerous doctors that are like, nope, it's 100%. And it's not
Really?
the stress. It's not the stress itself. Because if you go to the gym and you work out, let's say you just grab the 1 pound dumbbell, you will
Mhm.
never grow your muscles if you grab the 100 pound, sorry, the 1 pound dumbbell.
Yeah.
But if you see the people with the big muscles, they might be throwing 80-pound dumbbells up. They didn't start that way. But by
Yeah.
stressing their muscles in a safe way, they build that resilience and they grow. Well, the same thing happens with our breath, which is the most important energetic engine in our entire existence is our breath. You always
Yes.
have it with you. It's always available for you to grow and to become stronger. Most people, I would say 99% of people, really have no idea how to truly harness that for their ultimate potential. And that's what I help people do in that way. When it comes down to awareness, first, we need to make sure that our body is healthy. Because if
Yeah.
you're sick or you're dead, it doesn't matter what you can do. That's great. It impresses other people. That's complete spiritual egotism to want to learn an ability so that you can go to Las Vegas and win at blackjack or something like that. I really don't resonate with people who want to do that, which is why I do what I do now, which is really focused on health. We don't get to the superhuman or what I like to call future human
Yeah.
ability until later down the road. Once somebody has, first of all, refined and balanced their physical, their mental, their emotional, their energetic self, which
Hmm.
the cool thing about this is it's a method. If you do it, as long as you have a body, it will work for you.
Yes.
If you don't, I can't help you. But, as an example, one of the how important this is and how powerful this is health-wise. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was flown to Nosara, Costa Rica, several years ago to teach a group of Grammy Award-winning musicians just some basics of Merpati Putti.
Mhm.
And one of the positions, it really helps us stretch out our lungs and it helps to send energy through our lungs and out into our hands, where you can literally feel it the same as if I'm grabbing onto my coffee cup here. It feels
Yeah.
that strong for most people the first time they do it, even. Well, there was one gentleman that was very frail. And I could tell he was really struggling, Stacy. He was trying to walk up a flight of stairs and he could only go about 4 steps and had to stop and rest. I learned that this man, who became a very dear friend of mine, was once one of the greatest big wave surfers in the world. but COVID took that all away from him. When he
Mm,
got sick, he he was on a ventilator for the
mhm.
longest that anybody has ever been on one and survived 70 days. So if you can
Wow.
just imagine, here you are, you can hold your breath for 3 minutes at a time. And next
Yeah.
thing you know, you're on a ventilator. And then it gets so bad they put you in a medically induced coma for a month. And then
Wow.
you wake up and you're paralyzed from the neck down. If you could just imagine what that would be like. And I know you can, what we talked about with your arms.
Yes.
Well, I met his name is Drew Brophy. And when I met Drew, about 11 months after he got out of the hospital and learned how to walk and how to breathe and do everything again, he couldn't walk upstairs. And so when I taught this group one exercise, this basic exercise, for us, it's basic in Marpati, he started tearing up. And I went over it. I said, Drew, what happened to you? And he looked up at me and the tears were starting to come out. And he said, this is the best I've been able to breathe since I got sick. Now, he'd done other breath work before and they
Yeah.
hadn't had the same result. But what's so cool about this is Drew, up until this point, had not been able to surf. He was still too
Wow.
weak. The next day, oh, come on, it's no Sara, it's Costa Rica. I wanted to surf my whole life. And I go
Yeah.
down to the beach and I've got Drew and his wife Maria with me. Maria taught me how to surf and I caught some waves. But what's really cool is that Drew was able to paddle out and catch waves for the first time. So it allowed him to start to reverse the long COVID, but it also helped him to start to realize his dream again of being back on the water, which he had
Yeah.
surfed everywhere in the world. And here he was. And you can actually see his testimonial on my website.
Yeah.
And it's because of things like that that I consider health, vitality,
Yes.
strength, stamina
Yeah.
so much more important right now because the whole world is facing health issues with our poisonous water, food, air, waves like 5G, other EMFs that break us
Yes.
down. Now, cloud seeding, right? Where they're
Yes.
dropping all kinds of chemicals where everybody's getting affected by this. And just imagine if there was a way that in just a few minutes a day you could reverse that.
Yes.
That's why I do what I do.
Wow. Yes. It's amazing. I want to talk about Viva Vision. What is it and how does it work? And why do you believe it has the power to literally rewire the process of the world around us?
Okay, well, yeah, so that is actually a trademark term that I came up with
Yeah, yeah.
years and years ago. But what it comes down to is the science of vibration. So when we do this through Merpati Putti, the first things, it's a step-by-step method. Now, as
Okay.
that is taught now, it just throws people in the deep end of the pool. That's why nobody's been able to really do it since 2016, honestly. This is the truth. Nobody's been able to do that reliably since 2016. But it all comes down to the foundation of what you're building. So first, in Merpati Putti, we have to build our strength, our stamina, our inner power, and our
Hmm.
mental ability to be quiet, present, focused, and know thyself.
Yeah.
That absolutely is crucial. Nobody just learns the techniques of that uh,
Yes.
and then is able to do it. You have to start off with the basis. It's just like anything else, right? You can't eat the whole elephant. You have to eat it one bite at a time, no
Yeah.
matter how much you might want to. And so, why that has such a basis for transforming humanity is the awareness that comes with it. It's not about the doing, it's about the becoming, which the Merpati Putti system by itself does. It's not about vibration per se. It's about
Right.
Merpati Putti because Merpati Putti is a combination of many different skills.
Yeah.
Vibration is one. And so while it's beautiful and it's fun and it's great, if you go and you do something and you get nothing out of it really later, well, then it was just another great experience. My goal, Stacy, is to take people along a lifelong journey where they consistently improve every single day. And in fact, I have a beautiful program coming up that blows everything I've ever seen in the world as far as healing out of the water, like with a rocket. It's incredible. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But that's why I brought it to America, is because I could see literally the potential what would it be like if you had all these people that had this awareness and they had a peaceful heart and
Yeah.
they were spreading good and they were emanating this out there? What we could we do? And the ancient Egyptians, this is something a lot of people don't know. I saw an interview with Graham Hancock, if you know who he is, conscious researcher, love the man.
Mhm.
He was saying that the ancient Egyptians said that we have 360 senses, not just five. So,
Wow.
what have we lost in 5,000 years as far as knowledge? A lot. Ancient
Yeah.
Egyptians, how did they build the pyramids? We're like, we think they did it this way. Now we find those big columns underneath the pyramids that we're just like, there's no way we could build that. We couldn't even make the pyramids with our equipment now. But they also did brain surgery. They were able to harness electricity. They had indoor lighting. They had so much that we didn't know about. And so the Jedi, DJEDI, they're mystics in ancient Egypt. They would train children to use all these different senses. So
Yeah.
revision is one. But what is your superpower? What is your future human ability? The Merpati Putti method that I teach helps people unlock what theirs is. And if you, just like Albert Einstein said, that if you try to convince a fish to climb a tree, it will forever live its life feeling it's stupid.
Yes.
So I help people unlock what is their power. If they're a fish, teach you how to swim. If you're a tiger, teach you how to run. If you're a monkey, teach you how to climb a tree. If you're a
Hmm.
bird, teach you how to fly. But most people have no idea what their ability is. And that's where the integrated ascension method really shines with the technology, diet, all those things with Merpati Putti at the base of that pyramid, right?
Yeah.
It helps people unlock these in a reproducible, reliable way where so much of what you find out there is just shooting in the dark and it's beliefs based and it's dogmatic and it relies on other people to attune you and do things to you when you are your medicine. You are your Jedi Master.
Yeah.
It's how do we do that? And that's what I help people do. So with the vibrovision skill, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's a lot of fun. It's woohoo, a lot of breakthroughs. And there's so much more.
I love that. People, they search their entire lives to figure out what their purpose in life is.
Exactly.
It's a lifelong struggle, because, I feel that in our society, there's so many titles and so many stigmas. And, people, we live in an environment and we have to live by the way we think. As soon as you come out of your mother's womb, you're right away, you're cared for a certain way, and we're absorbing all this in our memory, from the ages 1 to 7 are our most important years. They say it has the biggest impact. We're told what to do. We're told what right and wrong is. We're told how to behave. We go to school. We have the teachers telling us the same thing. And we come out and we see society behave in a certain way. And we're given all these titles:
Yeah.
child, teenager, student, and the list goes on as we get older. But who are we? When you strip those titles away, as when you get to a certain age, because maybe you become a mother, maybe you become a father, maybe maybe you're this or that or the other thing. Once you strip all those titles away, I've asked the question to people. I said, okay, who are you and what is your purpose? And people will look at me dumbfounded because, once you strip all those titles away, once you forget about what society thinks and says and what society thinks is right and wrong and what the norm is, people will just look at you and they just don't know because it's what they absorb in their environment is what they take in and who they become. But really, it's more than that.
Without a doubt. And a brilliant friend of mine once told me that he said, Nate, having the right answers is smart, but having the right questions is genius. And
Yes.
honestly, we're taught to be humans doing, not a human being present, a human being curious, a human being empowered, a human being being. So we're taught what to do and what we should quote unquote be, but we're not ever taught really how to be us. And
Yes.
it's only that's what's so beautiful about this spiritual renaissance that we're having worldwide is so many people are asking the right questions for them at this time. two of my questions that I ask myself on a daily basis is what is real about this? What is real? The
Hmm.
second one is how is this for me? How have I
Yes.
created this lesson for me to grow? And by asking those, and you cannot ask those questions and then think it out. It doesn't work.
Yes.
Instead, you have to ask a question and then sit in the silence and allow your subconscious, your higher self, your soul to come
Yes.
through and provide you with that answer, the infinite, unlimited, eternal beingness of yourself to answer those questions. Because as Joe Dispenza talks about, you cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it.
Yes.
So more thinking isn't going to happen. That's not going to do it for you.
Yes.
Instead, having the right techniques and then also it's like a recipe. Certain things, try eating soup with chopsticks. It's really tough. That's
Yeah.
not the right tool. So you can try all you want, and you're still going to end up with a bowl of cold soup after 5 hours. Give somebody a straw or a spoon. Yeah, some people, if it's really good soup, an IV, then you're going to be more efficient with what you're doing. And so, once again, right tools, right questions, and then calmness. Most
Mhm.
people have no idea. If you ask them, are you happy? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, of course I'm happy. I have a Ferrari and I have a 5,000 square foot house and I have a private jet. Then you ask them, okay, which one of those creates your happiness? Why are you
Yeah.
happy? Because you have that Ferrari. What would happen to your happiness if the Ferrari went away? Would you
Hmm.
not be you anymore? Who would you be without your identifying symbols? And
Hmm.
nothing wrong with the Ferrari. I would love to have one myself. That said, there are so many leaders out there that if you ask them, like you said, who are you? They'll say, well, no, my name is Bob Jones. Okay, who's Bob Jones? I'm the son of Sally and Kirk Jones. Okay, what else? And they just run into a wall. And that's why meditation is really taken off, is because people want to know more of who they are.
Yes.
And the thing is that when you do certain types of meditation, it can really help, but a lot of them take decades really to get to that point. So, one of the
Yeah.
things that I incorporate in the integrated ascension method is vibroacoustic therapy from my good friend Craig Goldberg, who owns In Harmony. If anybody out there has ever sat on an In Harmony cushion, you know your whole body vibrates with the alpha frequency and you get your skin sense network, not just your auditory. But then also my good friend Jeff Thompson, Dr. Jeff Thompson, the founder of the Neuroacoustic Research Institute in Carlsbad, California, and Scientific Sounds. It is by far and away the most powerful sound technology you will ever find for your nervous system to take you into brainwave states that he actually discovered that neuroscience had never seen before. And when you do this, along with the integrated ascension method techniques, instead of taking 20 years to learn how to meditate, you simply push play. It takes you 5 minutes to get in a state that most Buddhist monks will never reach. And you can
Yeah.
hold it for 30 minutes or
Mhm.
2 hours, however long you do it for. And then when your energy system is so strong, your health is so good that you truly, the mind, body, spirit, it takes on a totally different meaning. And
Yeah.
a lot of people give up, Stacy. They give up on these things because they're not seeing results fast enough. In our
Yeah.
society, where we have a 5 second attention span, if I said to you, Stacy, yes, you can reach enlightenment, but it's going to take you 50 years and you will have to give up all of these things, all of the food that you like to eat, interaction with other people. You'll have to live in a cave. You're going to have to live a monastic lifestyle. How many people are actually going to do that? It's the one in
Yeah.
a billion that will even sacrifice whether they reach that state or not.
Yes.
Imagine if I could say to you, Stacy, by taking 10 minutes a day with these very special breath work and meditation exercises, by pushing play on your phone with some headphones, you
Yes.
can meditate as deep as the most enlightened master and keep it there. Imagine what that would do for you and just your state of inner calm. And since stress is the cause of all disease, well, imagine if your nervous system was like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. How much could your system handle?
Yes.
If everything life threw at you was something you could handle and it didn't break you down, it
Hmm.
actually helped you build yourself up. And
Yeah.
on a level you can't possibly think yourself into, but this goes under the radar. So I've got all kinds of tools and toys and tricks and hacks for people. And that's why I love what I do is because when people use one of them and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm never the same again. Now imagine if you use 10 of them.
Wow. Yeah.
Like it's really fun.
It's amazing. That is totally amazing. Now, we live in a world that's overwhelmed, overstimulated, and exhausted. What are some of the everyday practices from your training that could help people recharge, focus, and reconnect?
Yeah, that is such a great question because you have your breath available to you at all times. You do have the ability to eat healthier foods. You do have the opportunity at any single moment to reframe your mind into one of positivity so that you're not producing the hormones of stress.
Yes.
These things are very good on paper, but once again, you need to have the right spoon and not be eating soup with chopsticks.
Yeah.
So, what I do is I have free courses that people can go grab, but I also have a very unique program with my app. Now, my app is called I Am Breath Mastery, all separate words. It's on
Yeah.
Google and Apple. I Am Breath Mastery. When you search that up, and you can also scan this QR code right here, go to my site, click right on the little icon that says the I Am Breath Mastery. Boom, it'll just download to your phone. I've got a free gift for you. Now, this is a perfect breath, meaning neuroscience has found that we have a perfect breathing rhythm for the human nervous system and body. This
Hmm.
leads you right through how to do that. It's very simple. You're breathing anyway, right? You
Yeah.
might as well do it in a way that's healthiest for you and moves you into a state of immediate calm
Right.
in literally 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So I teach how to do that. And I have that right on the app. So you could just take me with you. And then also an energy shielding class from Merpati Putti that
Wow.
helps you shield yourself mentally and energetically. So if you're ever around negative Nancy's or negative Nicholases that energy vampires that drag you down, this
Yeah.
alone will help you. But then I have all kinds of different online programs. But I encourage anybody, most of them are not available for purchase online without us actually having a conversation. So through this site, people will be able to click on that, schedule a one-on-one session. If you're truly serious about making this big leap in your life and changing yourself fundamentally so that you enjoy more of your life for longer, definitely schedule a one-on-one session and take a look at the programs. But what people can do right now, it's very simple. Relax and drop your shoulders, take a big breath in, exhale all the way out and hold it out. Hold it out for as long as you can. Then you take another big breath in, exhale all the way out. Hold it all the way out as long as you can until it's uncomfortable. Breathe in through the nose all the way out. Hold it. So three full exhales all the way up, squeezing that air out, and then a big breath and hold, and then hold it as long as you can. Simply by doing just this simple 30-second, maybe 2-minute exercise, what's going to happen is you're going to start stretching out the intercostals and the ribs. You're going to be stretching out the muscles and the fascia in between the ribs, allowing you to take in more oxygen easier. And there's a lot of biochemical stuff that happens with carbon dioxide, mitochondria, but I'm not going to get into that here. That's something people can come and work with me and learn a little bit more about because it's amazing when we just take a few breaths the right way for our body, what it really wants.
Yes.
You notice immediate improvements. And I mean immediate, and they're pretty long lasting. So
Yeah.
I would say the most important thing people can do right now is I'm going to ask you the question. Are you breathing? Are you like on purpose? Are you breathing?
Right. Yes.
When you do that, amazing things can happen. Like my friend Drew, 5 minutes, could breathe better, could go surfing again. And this has happened for so many people. Things like that, that it's not always about that. There's other things as well. So if you have pain, I teach how to eliminate pain through specific breath patterns. If you have an inflammation, can do that. If you want to learn how to be superhuman, we can do that. But the most important thing is, I think most people can agree that they want to be alive.
Yes.
And I teach people how to do that.
I love that. I love that so much. So many people, they want to feel alive and they just feel stuck in life. They feel unhappy. They know that there's more out there, but they've lost the interest to live.
Right.
And, to get that back is a blessing. And it truly is.
Absolutely. I like to say it this way, that a lot of people, they they want information. But
Mhm.
we have so much information. We don't need any more information because if we're not doing anything with the information, it's useless. So people
Yes.
go from information and then they move into motivation. Like, yes, I'm gonna join a gym. I'm gonna lose 40 pounds. I'm going to do all this stuff, right? And they get motivated. But we all know what it's like to have your motivation go down.
Yeah.
And then maybe they go, I'm transforming. I have transformation. Yes. But if you ask any veteran who has come back without their legs from a war, they also transformed.
Hmm.
Transformation, the word itself does not mean positive change, it just means change.
Yes.
Stacy, I lead people into liberation,
Hmm.
and that's freedom.
Yes.
And it has to start with vision. What do I
Yeah.
want?
Hmm.
What do I want?
100%. I love that. Now, you've worked with everyone from entrepreneurs to military veterans. Can you share a breakthrough moment where somebody completely transformed into pure energy and training, plus training?
Oh, wow. I've taught thousands of people where I think a lot of us have our energy pulled down by our past traumas, right?
Yes.
So maybe it was from childhood. Maybe it was that person who looked at you wrong on the subway. Maybe it was an abusive household. Maybe it was a sexual assault. Maybe it was a military a situation that caused PTSD and now you can't sleep at night. There's so many things that can go, quote, wrong, although nothing's actually wrong. It's just experience. But there are so many different things that can be improved. First of all,
Mhm.
right question. Second of all, right technique. Third, the desire for liberation. And the fourth, the follow through on what we need to do.
Yes.
So I'll give you one example. Many years ago, I had someone who was struggling with asthma, and she had to be put on a ventilator 2 to 3 times per year
Mm-hmm.
because she couldn't breathe for herself. No matter what the doctors tried, she could not breathe for herself sometimes. And she was in her 30s. After she trained with us for 3 months, she never, still to this day, she does her exercises 10 minutes at least 4 or 5 times a week. She
Yes.
does not need any asthma medication. She doesn't need an inhaler. She doesn't need injections. And she has not been on a ventilator since. And
Wow.
that just took literally 10 to 15 minutes and a couple days a week where we trained for about an hour, which
Hmm.
people can just get on my online courses and do it at their own pace. And that
Yeah.
is typical. We had at least 95% of all our asthmatics or people with COPD that after just a couple of months of doing this on a regular basis and putting themselves first,
Yeah.
they never needed to really use their medicines, or at least it was significantly reduced. Now, I'm not making medical claims. I'm not doing that. Why? Because I'm just telling you what we've seen.
Yes.
And the thing is that's only one thing. But
Right.
I also had, there's been so many things with people overcoming fears, releasing of traumas, catharsis. And honestly, if I ask anybody out there listening right now, how many things have you experienced in your life that hold you back? There's no way you can put a number on that.
No.
There's no way to quantify it because it's been
No.
happening since in utero.
Yes.
But what if? What would it be like
Right.
if you could harness your energy, harness your mind, harness your subconscious, harness your superconscious, harness your desires to achieve liberation, not just for freeing, like I'm free from my job, but I'm free from my traumas. I'm free from my
Yes.
limitations. For now, for what I'm doing so much of is the cancer and the Alzheimer's reversal and prevention. What if I
Yes.
could be truly healthy? What if the prognosis my doctor said, you have 3 months to live, is an
Mm.
opportunity for me to prove them wrong?
Right.
Not because I want to prove them wrong, but because I want to live. And I'm not going to wait. Instead, I'm going to act. And then it's the matter of just taking that action 10 to 15 minutes a day. I think we all have 10 to 15 minutes a day to live the longest, best life, right?
Yes.
And especially when something is like I don't know, it is the levitation of air flight, right? Everybody else is in propellers or with a jet, maybe in a rocket, but to have anti-grav, let's do that. And that's what IM
Yeah.
does.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Now, there's a lot of woo-woo, out there in the energy space, but
Yeah.
your work is grounded, it's proven, and it's based experience. What would you say to those skeptics, and why should they give it a shot?
Yeah, I love that. So the most important thing for people who are skeptical, now granted, I can't do anything for people that are cynical.
Yes.
Cynics, you'll never prove them wrong. You'll never prove them right because they are set where they're at and everything else sucks. Okay,
Exactly.
fine. I'm not talking to cynics out there. You enjoy your journey through the life.
Mm,
For people who are skeptical, I'm a skeptical person. It's important that we have
yeah.
discernment. However, when we get to the point where we are so locked into our uh, beliefs that
Yeah.
even when you have evidence to the contrary, that not only are you seeing it, but you're feeling it, you still block it, then I would just ask anybody out there who's skeptical, are you really growing? Are you
Yeah.
really learning? Not more information. I'm going all the way to liberation. Are you really becoming the very best version of yourself? Now, that doesn't mean believe every single thing out there. That's really unwise to do.
Yeah.
But if you could prove it to yourself with something that has been shown to lower heart rate, lower blood pressure, lower A1C, many cases of diabetes have been reversed. Studies in Indonesia have shown this. People
Yes.
who have been able to reverse numerous types of cancer all the way up to stage 4. Studies in Indonesia have shown this. Something that is used by every branch of the Indonesian military for the past 55 years because of what it does for all of their soldiers as far as stamina, vitality, but also stress reduction, ability to recover from trauma. Also, interconnectedness and feeling that connection with your other people in your platoon or your squadron or whatever what they call their battalion, their groups.
Yeah.
Imagine if there's something out there that has been shown in observational settings to quantum physicists, ophthalmologists, optometrists, to blind people, to military, to politicians that all just go, holy crap, what? How are you doing that? Then you teach them a simple exercise and they go, I have never felt anything like that in my life. It starts to open up the gates of possibility. And when
Yeah.
we do that, Stacy, when we start to open up these gates of what is possible and we start to ask, like I said, the right questions, it becomes
Yeah.
like a snowball at the top of a hill. You start to answer these and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's not a matter of believing anybody else. It's about going and finding out for your own damn self.
Yes.
But without the right spoon and you keep using chopsticks, you're never going to eat the soup. As I keep going back to that reference for some reason, but maybe it's because I haven't had lunch yet. That said, it's important that every single person does experience things for themselves because belief is wonderful, but it's a poor substitute for knowledge. The only
Yes.
way you gain knowledge is by experience. And so if you believe something and you say, I'm not going to try that because I don't believe it, I know that's not true. No, you don't, because you haven't tried it. You will never
Yes.
know what chocolate tastes like until you eat chocolate.
Hmm.
So I encourage everybody to give it a fair shot because I only know a few things. There's a lot that I don't know, but I do know a few things for absolute certain that no one, no matter how skeptical or cynical, can really argue with this. First one is you exist. Second one, you're having experience, no matter what.
Hmm.
Third, it's ongoing. Fourth, you can't shut it off. No
Yes.
matter what you do, you can get a quiet mind. You're having the experience of a quiet mind. You can die. You have the experience of death. You cannot shut off experience. Fifth thing is everything changes except for the first four.
Right.
You're not the same size as you were when you were born.
Hmm.
Everything changes. But existing, having experience, it's ongoing. You can't shut it off. Those four things are immutable. But here's the thing. That fifth one is really important. If you're not changing, you're not growing. And so I
Yes.
encourage people, take that leap of faith, be discerning, be skeptical. but
Yes.
don't be shut off. Life is for living. Life is
Yes.
for experience. Life is not for knowing. Life is for
Yeah.
living.
Yes. 100%. I love that. I love that. Life is for living. That is so true. Now, one of the biggest blocks people face is fear. Fear is the of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of stepping into something they really are. How do you train people to move through the fear into alignment with their purpose?
Yeah, so here's an interesting thing. Years ago, I had a student who would, once in a while, they would have an anxiety attack and they would actually just shut down, hyperventilate, pass out on the floor.
Wow.
It happens to a lot of people.
Yes, it does.
Anxiety is a big problem, not
Hmm.
only because we have so much stress, but because we have so many chemical and energetic bombardments to our system that weaken our ability to handle stress and then tilt, overload, bam, shut down.
Yep. Hmm.
So I went to her and I was like, okay, I'm going to breathe real slow. Here we go. All the way out. Hold it. Breathe in, hold it. Breathe out, hold it. And by focusing in on her breath, and now I've actually read this in a book, but I came to this conclusion just before I read it, that fear is actually excitement without the
Hmm.
breath. When you're afraid, you hold your breath, you contract your muscles, you are putting yourself into fight or flight. When you
Yes.
start to breathe slowly, you start to move from fear to excitement. And if you keep doing it, you'll move from excitement to exhilaration.
Yes.
But it all starts with your breath. I mean, it's the most natural thing that we have. It's the only autonomic nervous system we can consciously control since birth. And yet it's the most neglected energetic engine in our entire life. But if
Yeah.
you're able to harness this, you're able to really drop in with your breath, it's amazing what can happen. So that's one example where fear, false evidence appearing real. Fear is a
Hmm.
good thing. If a lion is chasing you, be afraid. That's trying to save you. But we're the only animal that we know of on this planet that can have something happen 25 years before, and simply by thinking of it, we're right back in that situation in the state of petrification or horror. And our
Hmm.
body doesn't know the difference, Stacy. Our body still releases all these hormones of stress to break our body down into fight or flight. And most people don't understand that they are in a constant fight or flight state 24/7, even when they're sleeping.
Hmm.
So by breathing the proper ways, you can mitigate that stress. By using scientific sounds from Dr. Jeffrey Thompson, we can move ourselves into homeostasis where our whole nervous system is completely calm. Most people have never experienced what true calm is like.
Yeah.
And if people can do that in a few minutes, then it becomes the state of being after a while.
Yes. And it's so true. I've met, people, I have friends, that they have never really, I could just tell they've never really experienced the true meaning of calm. And it's
Right.
so important. They think they're calm, but you can tell they're not really at that healthy, calm state of mind.
Exactly. But if you're around, say, the Dalai Lama or Sri Sri Ravi Shankar or a yogi that has been practicing for 50 years and they are the embodiment of peace, I don't know if you could actually hold a state of fear or anger while you're in their presence. I don't believe so.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So that's what I would say for fear. It's face everything and rise, or false evidence appearing real. F everything and run. There's all kinds of different things that make up that acronym. But when it comes down to it, just asking yourself really what is real. If you're concerned about your finances, do you have shoes on your feet, shirt on your back, pants on your legs, any money in your wallet? Did you have this? You're not so poor that it takes away your birthday.
Yeah.
It has to do with a family conflict. Asking a question, okay, am I able to see things from their perspective? What is really my perspective? What parts of me can I see in them? And what am
Hmm.
I projecting upon them that is actually part of them? What is
Hmm.
real? Stacy, what is real? When we ask that question and we breathe with it, it's incredible what happens to people's mindset. But then when it comes down to something like with me, a tumor diagnosis,
Hmm.
where when this happened for me, I say for me because it is for me, and I lost sensation of my body. I couldn't feel any of my skin. I could stick a needle in my arm and I did, and I couldn't feel it.
Hmm.
Totally normal, right? So
Yeah.
the next day I went to the ER and I got the MRI and I heard the 7 words you never want to hear a doctor say. You have a tumor. Math isn't my strongest suit. The seven you never want to hear. And at that point, it didn't take very long for me to shift into the mindset of everything's figure outable. How is this for me? What is real about this? What am I going to do about it? And then I mean, even that day, I was like, how can I use this as a learning adventure to help people? Because I know there are so many people that have cancer or Alzheimer's, or they have all these terminal things that our body, we have tissue issues. This thing has issues, right?
Hmm.
What can we do? What can we do to learn through them? Because is there a difference between dying from cancer and living with cancer and healing through cancer?
Hmm.
Absolutely. I help people with the last one.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Now let's talk results. What kind of transformation can someone expect if they truly commit to this work with you?
Yeah, you won't recognize yourself in a year from now. Well, you will. Like you'll look in the mirror and say, that's me, of course. But I encourage everyone when they start working to journal. How are they feeling? What is their level of inflammation on a scale of 1 to 10? Their level of pain? What is their blood pressure? Chronicle these things because when you start to harness your breath, when you start to these biohacking practices, when you really craft your nutrition in a fun way where anybody could do this, but
Yeah.
you start to have massive transformations very quickly in the body, in the mind, in your emotions, in the way that you interact with other people. But oftentimes we forget how far we've come, and that
Yeah.
helps us go right on our way back because we
Hmm.
forgot what it was like to be 80 pounds heavier than we are at the end of a year, right? And we're like, okay, cool, great. I can start eating processed foods again because I love the taste. And next thing you know, back to 300 pounds you go. So it's important to chronicle that first of all. Second of
Yeah.
all, what people can really expect right off the bat from when they start, they will be learning something that they have never seen before. That I can
Right.
guarantee you 100%. From the Merpati Bhuti breath work to the mental training to the meditations to the incorporation of these different technologies. I'm the only one in the world doing this. There is no
Right.
one else. You can only pioneer something once, right? As the
Yes,
Merpati Bhuti
exactly.
pioneer, to
Hmm.
even mix that with one other thing, that's new. Now I've
Yeah.
mixed it with 10 plus that people can choose from,
Oh,
including, and I'll tell everybody about this as well, because there's one thing to work with me and there's one thing to have rapid healing and rapid transformation. If it's somebody's an athlete or a biohacker or they have stage 4 lung cancer, this is amazing. And this is a program which is coming up called Ascended Living. Now,
mhm.
I love all my programs. I love my app. I love speaking. I love helping people transform through the integrated ascension method. And this next program, it combines 3 of the most powerful healing modalities that exist. First of all, Merpati Bhuti, breath work creates miracles. The second one is from a woman named Jemaya Vanderbilt and her center point reset. If you can
Yes.
just imagine the poles of the planet creating an
Hmm.
electromagnetic field around the planet. Now imagine if the poles just shifted, everything would be thrown off. You'd have earthquakes, you'd have tsunamis, you'd have volcanoes erupting. But what if you also have poles in your body that should be coming from here in the center of your chest and back into the center? That's really how the torus field should work. But most of us, almost all of us, they shift to different points as we grow up. And I know a lot of people out there have felt imbalanced
Yeah.
and like something's just not right. And why don't I feel like I'm imbalanced? So you can have all the energy in the world, but if your center point is out of alignment, you still might feel off kilter, just even maybe in a more powerful way. What Jemaya does, she can do it virtually as well. And I've seen it change lives in 20 minutes, like
Wow.
permanently. She puts you back into where your center point should be. So that's the second one. The third one is a treatment that I have been blessed enough to receive two of them, and it is, as far as I know, the most advanced biochemistry, V cell stem cell,
Mhm.
exosome, and laser treatment in the world by a man named Ian Mitchell in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who has been nominated by RFK Jr. to be the next director of the National Cancer Institute because of his effectiveness at treating cancers, including which has been shrinking. I can verify with MRI that Ian's
Wow.
treatment is working. So when you have my integrated ascension method, Jemiah's center point reset, when you have Ian's full rebody balancing, biohackers, athletes as well for him, what happens is you have the miraculous become your reality. And that's coming up very soon. So people who are interested, scan this code, SMS me the word ascend. If you do that, ascend, when we're ready, we'll tell you more about the Ascended Living program. I'll have my team reach out to you. It's going to change so many people's lives quickly that up until now, it's been hopeless. I can't even tell you, Stacy, but it is going to be, by all intents and purposes, the miracle that people have been waiting for.
Wow. I'm very excited about it. Wow. Now, what's one piece of advice that you would like to give somebody who's listening, who knows what they have untapped, that they have untapped potential, but doesn't know where to begin?
Yeah. Well, what I would recommend is get your phone out,
Mhm.
turn it to the camera, scan this QR code, or go to natez360.com. So natez360.com. Right there, you can save me as a contact in your phone, and that's open to everybody. Save me as a contact. And then please, you'll have that opportunity to push the little contact button and then email me. Email me your best email. Well, actually, no, text me, SMS me. But if you're international, email me with the word ascend. And please send me your full name. If I don't know who you are, I won't get back to you. But if you send me your full name, your best email, and your best phone number, what I'll do is I will send you out a free class where you can actually try the perfect breath. You can experience it for yourself. You can learn this energy shielding. And if you're interested as well, you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with my team for the people who are wanting to step in and like, I'm ready for change. I'm ready for change right now. I've waited long enough.
Mhm.
I'm only at 40% potential. I know, but I don't have the right spoon. I'm sitting there with chopsticks in the soup. I gotta get it.
Yeah.
Help more with my team. In a one-on-one, you could schedule that right in my site as well. And so that's something, but that's only for people who are actually really serious, not just testing the waters. You're done. You're finished. You don't want to mess around anymore. You really want this change because you know that
Yeah.
life is for living and you want to live more of it. That's where the one-on-one comes in. But no matter what,
Yes.
I've got all kinds of online programs and I've got free webinars, including one coming up tomorrow on July 10th, which is called Heal Thyself. And we're starting off with awareness and mindset, the most important thing for every part of life, but specifically if you're healing through something serious.
I love it. Oh my goodness, I love it. Now, tell everybody about the webinar that is coming up it's going to be starting actually tomorrow, right?
Yes, yes. So it's going to be held every 2 weeks. And with this webinar, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through six different classes over the course of 12 weeks. So they're Thursdays from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And when you go onto my website, which you'll see, it's, well, iampure.energy/masterclass. But better yet, go onto the QR code site and just go to the Heal Thyself session live. Click on that. You'll go right to the site, register. And I would recommend you check the box that says register for all of them because they're not all the same. I'm
Hmm.
a teacher. I'm not really a big snazzy salesperson, honestly, Stacey. I've been an educator for over half of my life on large
Yeah.
scale, on
Yeah.
private level, and I'm here to help. So we're going to go through six different things that follow the acronym ASCEND. Week number one is A, which is awareness and mindset. The second class, that's going to be S for source through breath. This is how to use your breath as the direct access to the divine, your life force, what I call divinity. The third class, that's going to be in a month from now. That is C. So we've gone AS, now C for cellular support, because honestly, supplements, they're not extra, they're essential.
Yes.
Fourth class is going to be E for eat to thrive. How can you eat to be healthy and really love your life? Because most of
Um,
our food just poisons us, especially in America. It is poison.
yes.
N, that's class number four, or excuse me, class number five. That's new frequency techniques. So everything from rife frequencies, binaural beats, the laser technologies of Ian Mitchell,
Hmm.
and so many other ones. Some of them which are were actually developed just for me. They've never actually seen the light of day, but it's time for them to.
Yes.
And finally, the last one is going to be D for decode your body through biohacking. Decode
Love.
your body. What can this thing do? How can every cell be healthier? Learning more
Yes.
about what we can do right now with things that are available to us on Amazon tomorrow to actually
Mhm.
start to reshape our health in the next upcoming weeks. So Ascend, 6 classes, all of them will be unique. All of them you will be unique really in the world because of what I'm bringing and how I put it together. So you can all go ahead and register right there through this link right there. And please invite your friends, especially anybody you know that is struggling with a health issue and
Hmm.
people who are interested in one-on-one because they want to go farther, deeper, faster, better, all that stuff. It's in there
Yeah.
too.
I love it. I love it. Now, where can people find you? They can find you on the QR code. They
Yep.
can find you at your website. Is there
Yeah.
anywhere else they should go, or those two things are the main things they should focus on?
If you type in integrated ascension method into Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, not the yellow pages, but everywhere else, yeah, you can find integrated ascension method or Nate Zeleznick. I do a lot of things under my personal brand as well, actually even more. So, if you're, say, CEO that you want to have an amazing corporate retreat for your C-suite where they will
Mhm.
actually be more closely bonded and aware of each other than they ever have before or could be, I'm your
Yeah.
guy. If you are a retreat holder and you want somebody to come in and add something that they will never get in another retreat, I'm your guy.
Mhm.
If you're somebody who just got a diagnosis, I'm your guy. Doesn't mean I can help everyone, and I don't
Right.
claim to, but if I can, I will. And so, yeah, my website, iampure.energy, is a great place to see everything that I do, but you can access it right through this QR code or the natez360.com, along with
Yes.
everything else.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, is there anything else you'd like to add to this before we go?
Yes, actually, there is. And it's a question. Are you really accomplishing everything and living the life that you came here to live? Real talk, real question. If you can say yes, truly to the bottom of your soul, awesome. Congratulations. You're one in a billion. But for everyone else, I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
I love that. Well, Nate, thank you so much. This has been amazing. I hope you'll be back again. And I really admire what you do. I can feel the positive energy. I can feel you. I can feel your passion and what you do. And we need more people like you. You know, we need people to really bring the best out of people. There's so many people struggling in this planet for so many different reasons, and they need somebody to help them release that negativity, to release those fears, to release anything that's holding them back and making them not reach their full potential in life. Because like you mentioned earlier, our main objective is to be happy, to be joyful, to live our best lives, and to be able to know that there is something there that could help us get through everything, and that with your techniques, we can see beyond what we can see in the gray box, that there's so much out there. And we really need to start really opening our eyes and start really taking those resources and utilizing them in our own lives because they're so powerful and they change your life, mentally, physically, spiritually, you become an example to others when you do the exercises and you do the practices that you speak about. It changes you, it transforms you into a better person, and people notice that. And then people watch and they learn and they ask, what are you doing? And it could be a cycle of positive transformation in our world if people can start doing that, because there's always a way to have a better life. There's always a way to figure out a problem, and that just because something arises doesn't mean it's the end. There's a solution, and finding that solution. And I think I am very excited to explore your webinar and your classes, and I really commend you for what you're doing and how you brought this program here and now you're sharing it with the world. So thank you so much for what you do. You are an amazing individual. I admire you so much.
It's my honor. It's my pleasure. That's why I'm here. And well, I'm happy to be here. Every day truly is a gift. And for everybody out there, I just want to say, Stacy, to you, thank you so much for reaching out to me to have me on this show. For everyone out there, I hope that you have an amazing now on purpose.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I hope they do too. Thank you so much, Nate. This has been wonderful. You have a wonderful day.